Hi folks, my name is Kim Sloan and I'm here to tell you a little bit about how I communicate. So these are the communication theories that I relate to: attribution theory and social role theory of gender. For attribution theory, when I thought about this, I thought about my own internal dialogue and my personality traits, how I might be a little bit more introvert or a little bit more extrovert, how I move through the world, and how those factors then attribute to my social interactions, my relationships with others, my involvement in the community, right? So I think it explores really how people can make judgments about why things happen and how these judgments can affect their subsequent behavior and interactions. So for me, I sometimes notice that I might have conflict with people and try to understand why. And that's really getting into more of the communication styles that I'll get into a little bit later. But for social role theory of gender, this really focuses on the expectations for behavior, how we're raised, how we're nurtured, how we're gendered, and how that then leans us toward our communication styles that we develop over time, and those lenses that can create biases amongst others, whether implicit biases or explicit biases, and how then we can then learn to overcome them, go to training, go to cultural humility training, try to walk in the life of a person who might have a different experience with you, have friends or family members who can educate you about different walks of life, maybe traveling or getting into another community, moving away from home might help you develop a greater sense of the various different communities and cultures we have. I'm somebody as a part of the LGBT community, and I move through the world with people who are very supportive of who I am, but there's also people that question it or don't understand it, and that allows for open dialogue and discussion and communication about that. And additionally, it also allows for more information to be kind of brought to the forefront, then they can educate others, right? So it's great. There is times, right, where you may come across somebody who is just maybe more old school or comes from a different generation than you, who may not understand and refuses to understand and kind of puts up a blockade because they're not ready, right? And that's okay too. You have to accept that not everybody is ready at one time point in their life to learn more about others. So you have to give that grace. Here I wanted to talk about a workplace example. This was a media campaign that we developed with contracted media partners. They used the power of persuasion. We developed a message design logic to really educate our communities about fentanyl being laced in substances and the use of naloxone as a way to respond to overdose. We know in California that 40% of overdoses, there's a bystander present. So we utilize these facts as well as expressive body movements for an expressive logic. We utilized social norm change by educating people about where to get naloxone and how to use it as a part of that conventional logic to change social norms, and a rhetorical logic with a little bit of dark humor in some of the spots related to fentanyl and partying, that then we were able to translate into a full-scale mass media campaign. So my big takeaways for this course are really on the communication styles. I think I really didn't have that language before about the expressive, conventional, and rhetorical communication styles. I did also learn about the social role theory of gender. I think I kind of had a general understanding about how our childhoods and upbringing shape our communication styles, although I didn't attribute it to that particular theory. And I also learned about my own communication style. I am somebody who tends to be expressive or conventional in communication, so I can express myself and have no problem doing that. I do tend to like conventional methods, and I like when teams can kind of come together and collaborate on completion of a task. I do have friends that do have a more rhetorical communication style, and even though that's not my communication style, I can relate to them because over the years I've gotten to know their communication style and have taken it for what it is. So I have a friend who is more rhetorical, kind of jokes and rabble rouses his friends, and I've learned to understand that from over the years. And this is my reference.